topic today is something that came up in our private Facebook group yesterday, which was someone asked a really interesting question about crying during yoga and like getting emotional during yoga and sort of what that all means. And I'm going to talk a lot about that. And then of course, we're kicking off the Spring Detox Challenge, which starts on Monday, BrettLarkin.com/detox. If you're not signed up, you all should have just got your intro video to your inbox. So if you don't have a video, the intro video delivered in your inbox, definitely hit me up on our Facebook group. The Facebook group is Yoga Hacks Community, Yoga, Hacks, community.com. Oh, what a lovely marriage proposal on Periscope. I'm so flattered. So yeah, make sure, hopefully you guys all got the email, and if you're in the private Facebook group, you're like way ahead of the game because you already saw the video in our Facebook group. But oh, thank you so much. Yeah, subscribe to my channel. Thank you, Adam. Yeah, guys, with YouTube, it's like a really big deal for us creators on YouTube, like how many subscribers we have. It sort of like really is helpful when you subscribe, and it's like free and it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. So if you're someone who's doing yoga with me online or even just interested in yoga and you're not subscribed to my channel, I'd really appreciate you subscribing. And of course, you can also follow me on Periscope. So hit this little Perry dude, swipe right. You can follow me and make sure to share this out. So a lot of new people in here today. So our Spring Detox Challenge is starting Monday, okay? So if you're not signed up, BrettLarkin.com/detox, you want to sign up. And oh, and Jen says you're gonna buy a notebook for the journaling starting on Monday. Yeah, guys, the journaling and all this stuff we're doing, it's pretty intense. If you guys have questions about it, really, like, this is the last opportunity to ask questions before we start on Monday. So definitely feel free to ask anything, either about the journaling or the eating or anything. I'm also gonna share with you guys the food that I'm giving up. And I'd love to hear what food you're giving up for the Detox Challenge. So if you want to throw what food you're giving up in the chat, just real quick. And I can tell you mine. I'm actually so ashamed, like, what my food is that I'm giving up for the Detox Challenge that I almost don't want to share it with you guys because it's like so embarrassing that I even eat this food. Unhealthy snacking. Yeah, Iris, that's good, but I'd be more specific, guys. Like, so don't just be like, I'm just gonna eat, like, I'm gonna give up unhealthy snacks. Like, I want you to be really specific. Like, what's that snack that's like the not good snack that you're always going for? Because when we leave things broad, it's easier to, it's like, yeah, like cookies, that's specific, or chocolate, that's specific. But like all unhealthy food or unhealthy snacking, that's like not, I'd be like worried that that's not specific enough. So I'd really encourage you to make it as specific as possible. Iris says, yeah, because otherwise there's just like this gray area. Yeah, wine, that's good, that's specific. Sugar, that's really hard. Shelly, I think that's too hard. I think you need to pick something like easier, because sugar is literally like in everything, unfortunately, because we live in America with so much processed food. Oh, someone says they're uploading their first YouTube video tomorrow. Congratulations, that's awesome. Fried stuff, yeah, that's pretty specific. I'm here in San Francisco. Okay, cool. And then of course the negative thought you're giving up, guys, if you have questions about that, let me know too. And that one is sort of the opposite with the food. Like the food, I want you to be really specific, right? So like, okay, I'm gonna tell you, do you guys wanna hear what food I'm giving up? I wanna come to LA so badly. Who said that? I'm coming. Guess, okay. Does anyone wanna guess what food I'm giving up? If you have any guesses, throw it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm actually gonna go get it from my fridge for you guys and show it to you. And I'm so ashamed right now. I'm so ashamed. Tap the screen for hearts. Okay, you ready? I'm gonna go get it. Throw all your guesses in the chat. Throw all your guesses in the chat. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Okay, so I have it. This is like a shame of puddings, Pringles. Oh, yeah, Pringles are so addictive. And someone on YouTube says they're giving up artificial sweeteners. Okay, that's pretty specific. Doritos. Oh, Doritos. Like, God, those are like, they make them so addictive. There's like so many chemicals in them. Okay, so this is the story behind my unhealthy food. And then we're going to talk about crying during yoga and answer any other detox questions. Okay? Cheese Whiz. That's such a good guess from Selena of like my ashamed secret food that I'm giving up. Okay. This started as a healthy food hack, and I actually posted to you guys, Cheetos, that's a good guess. I actually posted to you guys, and yeah, make sure to tap the screen for hearts on Periscope if you like our chat. I actually posted a healthy food hack where I decided that instead of going and getting froyo, instead of getting frozen yogurt, because my husband realized when we got frozen yogurt, it was like super expensive. You know those kind where you can like fill up the cup with as much as you want? And Jack keeps asking about YouTube questions, how you can keep consistently uploading. Well, you gotta consistently make content, and then you can schedule content to go out in YouTube. Make sure to maybe PM me on Facebook, and I can give you a lot more like YouTube business resources, because I do sometimes scope about that. So yeah, tap the screen for hearts or give me a yes in the chat if you know those like froyo places where they like let you fill up your unlimited cup, and then there's like unlimited toppings, and then they charge you by weight. So my husband and I got really upset because we were like, when we go there, we feel like we get charged a lot of money. Like it's really expensive. And I'm just gonna block this guy real quick. Yeah, like 16 handles, exactly. You don't have those in Holland. Good, because they're dangerous. And they're dangerous and they're unhealthy. So I decided like the thing I really liked about froyo was like not even the froyo. I just liked all the fun toppings, like, you know, like coconut shavings and chocolate and this thing I'm gonna tell you about. So we decided, and it's so expensive, right? So we just decided we're like, no more froyo out. Like it's not good for us and it's like a waste of money. So we decided to to start doing froyo nights at home, and instead of using froyo, we were using organic, plain, like no sugar yogurt. So just like plain yogurt at home, but we got to be able to put fun toppings on it. So the fun toppings that we were using were like chocolate chips and coconut flakes, and then the thing I got addicted to put on my frozen yogurt, which is gonna be my detox thing that I'm giving up, which is Reese's Pieces. Jack, it's BrettLarkinYoga. BrettLarkinYoga or Larkin Yoga on Facebook. Yeah, guys, this is like shame right here. Yeah, yep. And we started, I know. So we started, So we started getting just like little packs of like Reese's, and we'll just put like a couple on our frozen yogurt. Oh yeah, maybe you guys don't have these in Europe. It's like peanut butter chocolate chips. Yes, and then my husband, because again, he's like very efficient, he's like, let's save money. He's like, instead of getting the little Reese's bags, he like went on Amazon and he got this huge thing. And yeah, it does sound delicious, but I'm giving it up. I'm giving it up for detox week, because I do think having plain, so funny, right? I do think having plain yogurt at home instead of frozen yogurt is obviously good. And then, you know, like having a couple chocolate chips or like a couple, a couple Reese's Pieces like on your plain yogurt is okay. But since he got the big bag, it's gotten a little out of control, because instead of just like putting like 4 or 5, like what I'd do if I had a small bag, then candy, whoever asked that, what I give up. Cool, Jack, I'm glad you followed me on Facebook. So yeah, peanut butter M&Ms are also really good. So anyway, guys, for detox week, the food that I'm gonna give up, yeah, so my snack, Iris, exactly, is it's like Reese's Pieces with yogurt, and like sometimes I put chocolate chips in there too. And again, it's still healthier than getting frozen yogurt. It's still like, it's the only unhealthy thing I eat that I can think of. But exactly, Alicia, when you get a larger bag, it's so much harder to self-regulate. So my husband's just like this practical guy, right? He's like, let's go to Costco and get like 800 rolls of toilet paper. And I'm like, where are we gonna put all this toilet paper? And then like with the Reese's, because we were getting like little bags and they'd last us a whole week because we'd really self-regulate. But of course, he's like into cost saving. So he got us that ginormous bag that I just saw them and I just showed you guys. And now it's like very hard to self-regulate, and it's gotten out of control, and that's why I'm giving it up. And someone just asked how long since I've had them. I had them last night. Like, guys, it's a problem. So I'm giving them up for our detox week. So starting on Monday, I don't know anything about skateboarding or Sam's Club, right? The connection is bad. That's so weird. I'm sorry about that, you guys. I'm on YouTube too, if that's better. So, okay, so we all have our food we're giving up that's very specific. And let me just block this person. We all have our food that we're giving up that's very specific. We all have our thought that we're giving up, which if you guys want to share in the chat, you can. Otherwise, share it in the private Facebook group, yogahackscommunity.com. And this all starts Monday. So if you're not signed up, brettlarkin.com/detox. You're all going to get if you're signed up, you're all going to get the video emailed to you at 1 a.m. in your time zone. And I'm so bummed that the connection is bad, you guys. I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. Jump over to YouTube on my YouTube channel. And otherwise I'll try to keep it up and like wrap this up pretty quickly. And the other thing we were going to talk about, impatience. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, some people say the connection is good, so I guess it just varies. So the other thing I want to talk about, because when we detox, right, when we talk about detoxing, it can get emotional. So I thought it was really great when someone asked in the private Facebook group, Yoga Hacks, HACKScommunity.com, for those of you who want to join. She asked about crying during yoga and like what that's about, and is it good and is it bad? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a great scope topic, right? And it's really appropriate for right now, because as we all go in together through the detox challenge, stuff could get emotional, like things could come up. You know, when you detox, especially a lot of the exercises and breathing exercises we're gonna do, it can get intense, it can get emotional. So what a perfect time to talk about this topic. So first of all, give me a 1 in the chat if you've ever cried during yoga, and a 2 in the chat if you've never cried during yoga. People are telling me I'm freezing and that it's sad. Like a million ones. Okay, yeah. So I personally have definitely cried during yoga. Definitely cried during yoga. And I wanted to sort of share a little bit about what that's about, sort of my take on it. Hasn't happened yet, never did yoga. If you've never done yoga before, grab my newbie guide, BrettLarkin.com/newbie, NEWBIE. It's also in my Perry bio if you swipe right. Yeah, so what's that about? Like, I think crying is an emotional release, and you're so funny. I think crying is an emotional release, and I want to share a little story with you guys. One of my favorite books that I read very early on in my yoga journey, and it's one of the Eckhart Tolle. Can we do a tutorial on Kapalabhati for those new to it? That's a great idea, Jen. We can do that at the end, and I think I break it down pretty well in the first video as well. But yeah, and I'm getting a lot of ones on YouTube. People have cried during yoga, yeah. So this story, so Eckhart Tolle is like a personal development self-help author, and something he wrote about that really I love and stayed with me, and I want to share it with all of you, is he wrote about how it's about ducks. And I've had ducks in my scopes before, which is cool, but it's about ducks. And he said, when you look at ducks, they sometimes get like frazzled, or they sometimes like fight with one another, or they sometimes, you know, like stuff happens. And what they do is, you see them, do you know this? They like on the water, they like kind of get out of the water and they flap their wings really fast, and then they like re-land and they're fine. That's like what happens. And he was like using this example of the ducks and in the animal world, and it's with other animals too. It's not just ducks. Like, you can throw in the chat like an example if you've seen this with like your pet or another animal. But if an animal gets irritated or gets frazzled, they just like shake it off really quick, and they let that like anger and energy like leave their body, and then they're like fine, right? And the book is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. So, and he's written a couple books. I'm pretty sure this one's in that book. But this was one of my favorite parts of the book, because he also used this analogy with little kids. Like, little kids, they'll get upset, right? Like, something will happen, they'll fall down, or you take a toy away from them, and they're like angry. They'll like sob, they'll have a tantrum, but then they get over it, and then they're fine. So it's sort of like animals and little kids sort of know how to quickly release emotions. Oh, I see. Okay. They know how to quickly release emotions, and then they're back to normal and they're fine, because they like release that chaos, that anger, that energy from their body. But as we get older and we grow up, we don't know how to do that anymore. Like, instead of just like screaming and having a tantrum at work, right? We just like bury those emotions down and go back to our desk, and like it builds up. It builds up. So with that as sort of my guide, I think that crying during yoga, or crying if it feels like it's a form of release, is a really like great thing to do, because instead of it's sort of like, instead of shutting down your sort of animal side, because at the end of under all these emotions, someone just said the word venting. Yeah, but it's like not so much that. I don't think is like, underneath all these emotions is just energy, guys. It's just energy, right? All emotions are just energy. Like, it's just energy at like different frequencies and intensities, right? And yeah, it's not good to scream at your boss. So you shut that down, because when you're 5, you can scream at your boss, AKA your mom, right? And then you let it go and you feel better. But when you're grown up, you can't do that, and you shove all these emotions down. And at a certain point, would look crazy doing these things as adults, right? Exactly, Jen. Oh, there's an app called Vent. Tell me about it. I want to check that out. So I think crying during yoga is really good if it feels like a release, because we need to release. And I often just, yeah, that's a good point, Shelly. I'm trying to think like how to explain this. Like sometimes I just kind of know I need a good cry. And it's like not even like that I'm not upset at someone specifically or something specifically. It's just kind of like everything. And we feel better after, right? So there is, I don't know, there's different schools of thought. And you also really need to know when it's a useful release, like when it's a cry, and when it's just like built. Like if you're already really upset and you're already like, sometimes crying's not helpful. You need to know yourself, right? But if it feels like an emotional release and a letting go, and you're like, I'll feel better after I like release these tears, then I think it's really good to cry. Yeah, like when you know you have to see a sad movie. So what are your guys' thoughts? Let me know in the chat, or let me know in Periscope. But do you think crying is beneficial if it feels like a release? Put a 1 in the chat, or put a 2 in the chat, because I don't think it's good to bottle emotions down, you know? I don't think it's good to bottle emotions down. So what I like to do when I really need to cry is go in the bathroom and do a hot bath, because you guys know I love hot baths. I think they're really therapeutic. And I'll just have a cry in there that just feels like a release. And the key when you do this is to not get caught up in the stories in your head, like, woe is me, like, I'm crying so hard. Not to engage in that dialogue, instead to just like feel like something's moving through you and kind of know that you're undergoing what's part of a process right now. Exactly, Mel Santana, not to victimize. Put on Titanic, right? But I think I've noticed for me, there's like a big difference when I'm like having my good cry, like my emotional cry, and I have this inner awareness that I'm moving through something right now. Like, yeah, and Jacqueline's saying she shut down every emotion because she thought you'd look weak, right? And you know, another great book you might want to check out is perfect, good. Is like there's that book, The Power of Vulnerability by Brené Brown, which I haven't read, but I've heard great things about it, and I've watched her TED Talk. But just to go back, you guys, like when you're crying, whether it's in yoga or at home in the bathtub or wherever, there's a really big difference when you're engaging in the drama in your head about what you're crying about and getting yourself stirred and riled up. And when you have that awareness, like energy's moving through me, that's taking the form of tears right now, and it's okay, and I'm just holding space for it. Do you see how like crying in that state of mind is very different from crying in like the state of mind where you're like engaging all the drama and like forcing yourself to cry more? And like, do you guys see the difference between those two? Let me know, yes or no, because this has been huge for me, because now when I cry, it's just kind of like this emotional process I'm going through, and I have this awareness in the back of my mind, this inner awareness that this is okay, this is a process. Like this isn't gonna last forever, this is a process that I'm moving through right now. And I'm not engaged in the drama, I'm just having an emotional release. So, and if tears come up on your yoga mat, yeah, people are saying they get it. If tears come up on your yoga mat, I'd say hit child's pose and let them come out. And you know, maybe just have some tissue nearby and just let it come out, and then regain the practice as you feel ready, or just do a forward fold, or just do the rest of the class on the ground in pigeon and that kind of thing. So was that helpful, everyone? Does anyone else have questions about crying? And if you cry during the detox challenge, like it's okay. I'm not a vegetarian. Yeah, and you can cry and continue. Yep. So heart it up if you liked this little chat. Got a little emotional about tears, but the big takeaway I'd like you guys to take away from this is that you can cry in a way where you're, when you can cry in a way where it's therapeutic if you keep this inner awareness that the tears are symbolic of like an emotion that's going through you and you're releasing, as opposed to crying and being like caught up in the drama of your head about what you're crying about, and then it's just like a cycle spiral. I would totally be a vegetarian for a month. It's definitely something I've looked into and experimented with. And someone said they cried during Shavasana. Yeah. That's a good one. It's a good place to cry. And yeah, we need a good cry sometimes. Your low back feels better after a cry. Yeah, sometimes my whole body just feels better after a cry. And you know what my favorite thing to do after a good cry is, besides like take a hot bath, is go to sleep. I feel like I sleep so well after a good cry, right? Your body's just like ready to sleep, and you've had that release. Okay? So, is monogamy possible? Well, that's a big question, whoever asked that. Probably bigger than this scope topic, but if you bring it back to yoga, I will try to answer. Guys, let me know any last questions about, hey Fernando, the Detox challenge, or kind of crying and getting emotional, and otherwise I'm gonna sign off here. Yeah, and to dance and sing is a great thing too. So anytime you feel pent up with a lot of energy, I always just like visualize the ducks. I visualize like Eckhart Tolle's part in the book where he talks about the ducks, or he talks about little kids and how they release their emotions really quickly. Like if they're happy, they jump up and down, and they're like, they have no filter, right? They're just like ecstatic. And if they're really sad, they cry right away, right? So how can we be more like animals and little kids and keep less stuff pent up inside? Because that pent up stuff inside is what's, causing problems. And yeah, and yoga can just help. And sometimes when I'm really sad and I feel like I'm gonna maybe cry, like that's a great time to go to your mat and do a yoga practice and be like, if tears comes up, it's okay. And then just take child's pose or whatever. Okay guys, so this is the last chance to ask any questions live. I will be in the Facebook group this weekend, but last chance to ask any questions about our start on Monday. We went over the food. We had, definitely watch the replay if you haven't. We had like a very hysterical reveal of the food I'm giving up. And we all are having a specific food we're giving up. We're all working on, journaling to get rid of a thought. And I can talk more about that on during the challenge. And you're giving up booze too. I don't drink any alcohol, so that's like too easy for me to give up because I already don't drink. And someone just on YouTube asked, what are the benefits of yoga when it comes to pressed emotions? And you don't know if you want to have the journaling right after the yoga. Yeah, the journaling is really something I'd suggest doing throughout the day, right? Because you're going to be tracking a thought that you want to release. So that thought might come up multiple times throughout the day. So maybe do some journaling, but also have like an Evernote on your phone where you can just track those thoughts. Because the idea is that we're realizing those thoughts aren't us. It's just like a voice in our head that we have the power to eliminate by noticing it. And how you notice it is you write it down, right? But the benefits of yoga when it comes to pressed emotions, Roshi on YouTube asked, I think the body and mind are so connected that I actually don't have Snapchat. I know, it's like, I can't do every social media platform. I wish I knew how to use Snapchat. So sorry, when it comes to suppressing emotions, a lot of times, like when I talked about all these emotions being pressed down because we're adults and we're like not allowed to yell at our boss or, like get angry right away, those emotions get suppressed. And I think the physical yoga practice can help bring them to the surface in a way that they can release in a healthy way. So for example, when they say you're doing hip openers or pigeons, they say that can, because we store a lot of emotions in our hips, according to yoga, that can, like when you stretch your hips, like it's also kind of like emotion is like releasing from the body. I don't know, I just think of it as like as you stretch and you stretch the fascia and you stretch all these things, like things can release, if that makes sense. And Mona says, thanks so much. And she's diving deeper into the practice. Amazing. Good. Thank you for being here. And someone on Periscope just asked about any upcoming trips. There's one spot left in Italy. If you want to come to Italy with me in June, one spot left. Check it out on my website, BrettLarkin.com. And there's going to be a California yoga beach retreat in late August, early September. And there's details and a poll on that in the Facebook group, and info coming soon. So Facebook group, yogahackscommunity.com, yogahackscommunity.com. Make sure to join BrettLarkin.com/detox. If you haven't signed up for the Detox Challenge, most of these links are in this little Perry dude. So guys, I'm going to sign off. And yeah, hip hoppers are the best, Jen. I'm going to sign off. I will see you all on Monday. On Monday, we will all have done day 1 of the challenge, hopefully in the morning. So we'll have a lot to talk about. I'm so excited. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for sharing this out. So yeah, thanks for the shout out. But I'm Brett Larkin Yoga on YouTube, and make sure to follow me here on Periscope. You can still share this out if you're on Periscope. I know our previous one crashed. So our previous scope crashed. So hit the little Perry dude, swipe right, share this out. And thank you for putting that in. Yep, Brett Larkin, just without the G. And everyone, have an amazing, amazing weekend. Thanks for sharing, Alex. Get a friend into this challenge with you and do it on Monday morning. No, you're perfect, don't worry. And I love you guys so much. Have an amazing weekend. I will be in the Facebook group if other questions come up, okay? Bye, you guys. Whoops. Bye, heart it up. Hug Jen. Okay, guys, on YouTube. Thanks for being there on YouTube. We definitely had some like Periscope technical difficulties today. But you guys, really appreciate you hanging out. And this is the same time that we'll be live every day during next week for the challenge. So bring your questions, bring your tea, and I will see you guys all then, okay? Bye. And how do I stop it? That's the big question. Oh my goodness, so many live streaming tools. Bye Danielle, bye Mona, bye Jen. Thank you so much, you guys. And I have no idea how to stop this.